Now that we've gotten into some of the causes of anxiety, like anything from your environment to perhaps situations or circumstances that you were just placed in, or that you experienced, that you witnessed without knowing what was going on. You just felt that people were out of control, and that survival instinct as a baby, maybe I'm in danger, that maybe not people not listening to your cries at night, and being left to cry can be traumatizing to some babies, to some people. As said by Gabor Mate, a baby who's left to cry that doesn't like it because that's kind of traumatizing, and that really halts the communication factor too, is what I gather as well. Because then, well, what's the use of crying? What's the use of making a sound when no one's going to hear it or help you respond to it, respond to how you're feeling differently? So many things can take place in that causing of anxiety. Being bullied at school, having to live up to different expectations, measurements, receiving mixed signals from society and from our immediate society, our circle, receiving mixed signals. I always make fun of the Spanish songs, the reggaeton and the Latino music, because it's so bipolar, and it's so, I'm not making fun of bipolar, but it's such a big representation, and yet they want to act big and tough, is what I'm saying. That's the funny thing, that they want to act big and tough, but meanwhile you're saying, I want to own you, I'm nothing without you, he left you for somebody better than you, that's why you deserve to have fun with me. But then they'll complain that it's like you instigate the cheating, but then you sing and complain about the cheating. What's your problem? Although I love the beat, I love the music, but the words are, if you're at a 12, 13, 14-year-old level, how confusing that must be. And so the signals are always very confusing, I believe, as far as society, for you to develop any pattern of thinking that is guilt-free, because everything that society bases itself on is either good or bad, naughty or nice. And so anything beyond those measures, good or bad or whatever, overachiever, this, that, the other, whenever we're from these expectations, whenever we're a little bit too much, a little bit too far away from it, then that can create anxiety too, without having an opportunity to discover your own limitations, without giving yourself the chance to feel that anxiety maybe, but for yourself, for whatever it is that you truly represent, without feeling it for someone else's expectations. We also go into, in that same level, that same genre, I suppose, category, folder, any learning disability or ability. That always happens as well in the early years, in the early stages of emotional character, personality, etc., development. And so if there is some kind of learning ability, is what I like to call them, or disability, a child will notice it way before the world does. We will have no problem of going, I don't think they see this like I do. Just based on how the teacher is asking me to do that problem, I know she doesn't think like I do. Or when being asked to read, discovering that you're dyslexic, or you have some kind of dyslexia. Why are you all going that way? And I'm the only one going this way, when we're trying to do mirror image and not really being able to focus on a mirror image, and so on and so forth. So those situations at an early age, we find out we might be a little bit more different than just dress this way or that way, but we, as other children or as others, are wanting to be bullies or this or that, you're over here going, I don't see things like they do. Even being synesthetic was a big deal to me until I found out what it was, and then it was okay. Because it was something different. I'm like, what do you mean? What about the sound of light? Why aren't we discussing this? Why aren't we, and I felt a little left out, and I also felt that anxiety of, I see things differently, or I learn differently. Because that was a plus. I would get A's, I would get all A's, and it would be great in the outcome, but it would be a fight sometimes to, well, why can't you show me the work for this? And then I would explain, well, if we do it this way or that way, it doesn't make sense to me. And the way you did it seems to be a much longer way. So I would get into these little debates with my teachers. That caused anxiety. At the same time, we might be having troubles at home, or we might be having, like I did, childhood molestation. And so, imagine, what are we developing there, besides a very interesting fabric of our existence. Some of those things we will heal, other things we're going to continue on. Because something else that affects your behavior, your learning ability, is that fact of any kind of trauma within that childhood. So we'll continue.